Hi guys, and welcome to Magic. Magic is an open source cloud and an application generator. Now let me illustrate that last point. So here I have Magic, assuming you can get Magic up running and installing it. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video from where you can do that. You can, for instance, click the SQL menu item. This brings you onto the equivalent of MySQL Workbench or SQL Server Enterprise Management System. So let me load the script here. Here is a DDL, database definition script that creates one database called Babelfish. So let me execute this. So now I have an additional database. Now if I go to my menu item here and I find health, then I can purge my cache, and then I can go back to the home menu button here, and I can find the CRUD menu item, generate CRUD apps. Okay, so let me click this guy. Then I can choose my database type, being Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL. I can choose my connection string, and then I can choose my database. Now I'm going to choose Babelfish. At this point, I can either inspect my tables one at a time and or CRUDify them individually, passing in authorization settings, the primary URL, secondary URL, override settings for individual fields from my database. Obviously, these are my database fields. Configure the operation in regards to which CRUD verbs I want it to generate for me, or I can simply click CRUDify all tables, at which point I now have 362 lines of code automatically generated for me, and I can immediately go to the endpoints menu item down here. If I now filter for Babel, you will see that I actually have 10 brand new HTTP REST web endpoints. So let me invoke, for instance, the get one for languages. Okay, these are my supported languages, which was actually automatically inserted by my database create script that created my Babelfish database. Then I can go to, for instance, the SQL menu again, and I can choose my database. Okay, let's choose Babelfish, select all from, function control on Mac or control on Windows, then hold down that key, click space, languages. Function F5 on a Mac or F5 on Windows, and you're extracting your languages from your database. You can go in and inspect. If I have a lot of columns, it will only show the 5 first columns here, but I can click on this one to see individual values of all my columns. In addition to these two features, I have a file menu item that allows me to browse my files on my disk. Can click files if there's a registered editor for that particular file. I can actually immediately edit it. And I can hold down the option key on Windows or the option key on Mac OS X or the alt key on Windows, click M, maximize the code editor. And for some languages, such as Hyperlambda, which is a domain-specific programming language explicitly created for Magic to facilitate for what it does, I even have autocomplete. Control space on Windows or function control space on the Mac OS X, at which point I'm given autocomplete. And I can edit my files inline. So let's have a look at more of these menu items. Well, there's a fully fledged IDE, integrated development environments, allowing me to edit Markdown files, Python files, Hyperlambda files, SQL files, whatever I really want. Let's see if we can find some SQL files. Here is the MS SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server creation script for creating the database Magic. I can create users. I can use it as an authentication microservice, allowing me to easily create new users as I see fits. For instance, now I'm creating a user called Foo with a password of Foo, and then I can associate that user with a bunch of roles, as many roles as I want to. Okay, let's associate it with a guest role. Let's associate it with the chat admin role. That was a little bit, or moderator role. Okay, so now the user foo happens to belong to the role of guest and moderator. I can impersonate this user, open now in an anonymous window, incognito window in Chrome, and ta-da, I'm impersonated as the user foo. And here you can see that it belongs to these two particular roles. So basically, Magic is a complete virtualized cloud system. In addition to that, of course, it allows me to generate CRUD apps by simply clicking a button, period, end of debate. It allows me to do WebSockets extremely easily. It even contains a terminal. Here I'm in a terminal on my server, which happens to be my development machine, but it doesn't matter. Okay, let's do, here you have CD runtimes, ls, etc., exit. And it contains audit logging system. Here is the log for my server. As you can see here, my terminal created a socket channel, which it was listening to. It allows me to create scheduled tasks. Who is the name of my task? I can edit this particular task. I can write any amount of hyperlambda I wish here. I can give my task a description. Howdy, this is a scheduled task. I can save the task and I can schedule my task to, for instance, be running every 5 seconds. Great. Now my task is scheduled to being run every single 5 seconds interval. If I now go to my log, as you can see here, I'm invoking log.info from hyperlambda here. Then after 5 seconds, it should contain one log item saying task is being executed. And here you can see it took actually executed this task 3 times because we waited 15 seconds. So let's go back to that task and let's just delete it. Okay. Then in addition, it allows me to view health information about my server. I can view health here. Here you can see, okay, these are my total number of log items. This is how many days ago the application was installed. This is a security tab allowing me to see security issues related to my server somehow. For instance, here you have a number of login attempts. Let me maximize it a little bit. Here you have number of failed logins. On 19th of June, for instance, we had 2 failed logins. Here we have access denied. Here we have errors occurring on the server. Okay, I've had 3 restarts today, unhandled exceptions, failed task invocations. Here are the number of currently open WebSocket connections running over SignalR from .NET 5. Here is the ability to automatically check the health of my server running 125 integrated assumptions, checking and verifying the health of my system in regards to whether or not there exists a logical error in my system or not. All tests succeeded. I can create new ones if I want to, etc., etc. I can purge my cache or delete individual items, etc., etc. So as you can see, basically Magic is a complete virtualized cloud system, literally turning any VPS server into a fully fledged cloud within seconds. And that is before we even start considering the fact of that Magic actually automatically creates my web apps. And in fact, if you remember the Babelfish thing, my app, okay, remember we created and CRUDified for 5 minutes ago, we created CRUDified or Babelfish database, creating 2 different components. Well, actually, here's a complete Angular frontend, literally wrapping that particular database specifically for this module, effectively resulting in something resembling this, allowing you to actually have a default frontend to start out your front-end development from within 2 seconds after clicking the button. So not only does it generate and automatically CRUDify my database, creating an HTTP REST CRUD Web API backend, but it also creates a front-end for me. That is Magic. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video to where you can download Magic. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.